In this video, we are going to be doing some one-step dimensional analysis. We're actually going to start by converting metric to English units. We're going to convert 10 centimeters to inches. Now, the first step in dimensional analysis is to write down our conversion factors. So in this case, one inch is equal to 2.54 centimeters. The next thing we want to do is write down what we're converting on the left-hand side of our page. The next thing we want to do is set up as many fractions as we have conversion factors. In this case, we have one conversion factor, so we're going to set up one fraction. The next thing we want to do is do seek over have. So we want to put the units we want on the top and the units we already have on the bottom. And we'll utilize our conversion factor for that. So we already have centimeters, so we want to put 2.54 centimeters on the bottom. And 2.54 centimeters equals 1 inch, so that goes on the top. The next thing we want to do is cancel out repeated units on the top and the bottom. So in this case, centimeters and centimeters cancel out, so we are left with inches. Our next step is to multiply everything on the top and divide by everything on the bottom. So in this case, we're just doing 10 times 1 divided by 2.54. And 10 times 1 is just 10. So we end up just doing 10 divided by 2.54. And feel free to get out your calculators for this. And you get 3.937, etc. I am going to round this to 3.94. I'm going to round this 3 up to a 4 because the number that comes after it, 7, is above 5. So 10 centimeters is the same as 3.94 inches. Okay, second problem. This time we're going to do metric to metric. So the first step in dimensional analysis is to write down our conversion factors. So here we want to think how many meters make up a centimeter, how many centimeters make up a meter. So remember, C stands for centi. Centi is 1/100th. So in 1 meter, we have 100 centimeters. The next step is to write down what we're converting on the left-hand side of our page. So I'm going to write 304 centimeters. Our next step is to write as many fractions as we have conversion factors. We have one conversion factor, so we set up one fraction. By the way, all of these will have one conversion factor and one fraction because this is one-step dimensional analysis. All right, then we want to put down the units we're converting from, so have on the bottom, and we put seek on the top. So we have centimeters, so 100 centimeters goes on the bottom. And then 1 meter goes on the top. Our next step is to multiply everything on the top, divide by what's on the bottom. So we were going to end up doing 304 times 1 over 100. And I actually just realized I missed a step. I missed the step where we cancel out repeated units on the top and the bottom. And you couldn't see that last step that I just did. Sorry about that. So let's go back here. 304 centimeters. These centimeters cancel out, and we're left with meters, which is good. That's what we want to end up with. So what I just did was 304 times 1 over 100. And what you should end up getting, and you can do this on your calculator if you like, but what you should end up getting is 3.04 meters. So what this tells us, 304 centimeters is the same as 3.04 meters. Let's do number 3. So what would our conversion factor be here? We have to think about how many kilograms there are in a gram or how many grams there are in a kilogram. Since K stands for kilo and kilo means 1,000, there are 1,000 grams in a kilogram. Let's write what we're converting on the left-hand side of our page. We want to set up one fraction for our one conversion factor. Now for this one, I'd like you to figure out what goes on the bottom and what goes on the top. So pause for a second. Okay, I'm going to assume you've tried that. So 1 kilogram goes on the bottom because we want half on the bottom. Sec goes on the top, so that's going to be 1,000 grams. Next, we cancel out repeated units on top and the bottom. So take a sec to think about that. Pause the video if you have to. Kilograms cancel out. We end up with grams, which is what we want. So we end up doing, when we multiply everything on the top and divide by what's on the bottom, we end up doing 0.02 times 1,000 divided by 1. You can use a calculator. What you should end up getting is 20 grams. So what this tells us, 0.02 kilograms is the same as 20 grams. I think this will be our last one. And for this one, it's another English to metric. We want to do 2 pounds to kilograms. So I looked up the conversion factor ahead of time. 1 pound is equal to 0.453 kilograms. So let's write what we're converting on the left-hand side. Set up our one fraction. I would like you guys to do the rest of this on your own. I'll go over it after you've paused the video and tried it. Alright, I'm going to assume you've paused the video and tried it. So remember, half already goes on the bottom. So we do 1 pound. And then 0.453 kilograms goes on the top. Next thing you want to do is cancel out repeated units on the top and the bottom. So pounds and pounds cancel out. We're left with kilograms, which is what we want. Then we want to multiply everything on the top. So 2 times 0.453. Divide by what's on the bottom. And what you should get is 0.906 kilograms. So what this tells us is that 2 pounds is equal to 0.906 kilograms. We will be doing more dimensional analysis in the future.